Welcome to the old Hobo channel. This is a series based on our summer 2025 cruise from Buffalo, New York to Montreal in Quebec, Canada in our 1971 Hobo houseboat. This video covers days 9, 10, 11, and 12. We depart from Syracuse Inner Harbor and head north through Oneida Lk and rejoin the Seneca River. Heading east, we get to Rivers Junction, where you can go north on the Oswego River to Lake Ontario, but we continue east. It becomes the Oneida River. It leads us to Brewerton. The next day, we have a nice calm day to cross Oneida Lk and end up in Sylvan Beach, Verona Beach, and we explore both of those, staying in a marina again. From there, we go a short distance to Rome, New York, where the Erie Canal actually was first started. We stayed there 2 nights. It's Tuesday morning. We had rain in the early morning, 4, 5 a.m., that sort of thing. It quit maybe 5:30. Yeah, it's a little cloudy, not too bad. Here we are, relatively quiet here. Every once in a while in this building here, in the night, an automatic voice thing would say, you are trespassing, leave the premises immediately. I don't know if that was animals or whether it was people, but I don't think it affects the Riverwalk here. Last night, I'm not sure what time, it wasn't dark yet. We were just sitting on the front of the boat there, and we saw a fox, and he was just there on the cement there by the grass. He stared, he turned, he looked at us, and then he continued the other way. Folks who were coming by this way also saw him. It was kind of neat. It was a fairly large red fox. This is shaped up to be a nice Tuesday morning. It was raining a bit in the night, and then maybe around 4 a.m. fairly hard, and it's about 7:45 now. We'll leave in a little bit. We're heading out to Lake Onondaga and Onondaga, if I said that right. We're expecting, or we know there are winds of something like 8 miles an hour from the west. That's that way, and gusting, I forget what it was gusting significantly, like 14, 15, something like that. So as we head north, we'll have some rolly stuff that'll be coming from that side, but we know we're going to have some spray, so we put up that dodger, I guess you call it, and if necessary we'll put the one up here in the doorway that we have. Onondaga Creek then empties into Oneida Lk, and you have to make sure you stay in the channel. There are pilings there, very prominent, and also some of them that are under the water, also rocks. You can see the birds standing on them. The lake itself was not bad. We went the full length. The wind was good this early in the morning. As we entered the outlet of the lake, we encountered rowers, and we'd seen them the day before. We slowed down for them to minimize the wake. We noted under the underpass, or overpass, whatever it is, that is tagged with boasts from various rowing teams over the years. Finally, we got to the Seneca River. We turned right and headed east. We've got some nice homes here. They have nice indents there for little marinas. There's a guy with he's like a pirate. He's got 2 swords. We come up here, we got a weed munching machine. Okay, there's the weed muncher, and they're munching around, and it's access for the, I think that's the golf club, clubhouse. So, nice to have a weed muncher. A lot of times along the canal we see something that interests us, and we wonder why it's there. Here are these pilings. They look relatively fresh. What industry near the little hamlet of Belgium could this be for? Well, I researched after the fact by looking at Google, looking up Belgium industries, looking at Google Maps. There's nothing there except 150 years ago somebody made some quack pills, some kind of remedy, but I don't know that this is it. Does anybody know what this site used to be? Well, we've been to a lot of countries. We've been to Geneva, Switzerland. We've been, eventually we'll get to Rome, I think. Right here, this is Belgium here at the bridge. There are a lot of golf courses. There's one before, there's one after. We are gradually approaching the Rivers Junction, which is a major point where we go from the western Erie Canal to what they call the eastern Erie Canal. At the Three Rivers Junction, you have the choice of continuing east or going north through the Oswego Canal to Lake Ontario. There are a lot of nice homes here, and I was just observing different types of docks or inlets. It's fairly well kept here. Yeah, there are all kinds. There's one back there with an upper observation deck or party platform and a very well protected dock. Yeah. Just a few more squiggles or bends and we get to the Oswego Junction, or the Three Rivers Junction. We're on the Seneca coming to the junction. You could go north on the Oswego and head up to Lake Ontario, or turn on the Oneida River as we are. So at this point we're entering the eastern half of the Erie Canal. If you head up there, up the Oswego Canal and locks, you'll end up in Lake Ontario across from Kingston. And of course that way to the left is back to Tonawanda and Buffalo. This park here, mainly for observation. I don't see any place to tie up. This is the first bridge we're going under on the eastern half. Okay, since the junction, we've been on the Oneida River now. We left the Seneca River. The Oneida River, there's this big island here. It takes a loop up and around and comes back. And I'm not clear if there's a bridge at the top that's impassable, but I think that this is a sort of shallow, less passable side, and the other end is a big side. I think there is a marina at the next, at the end of the island and farther up near the tip of this, the northern tip of this island. We are not going to go on that, but if you were to anchor, there might be anchoring possibilities, or there would be a basic marina, as I recall. I'll look that up. This is Big Bend Cut. It cuts off this loop of the Oneida River. Those folks just passed us. They are loopers. They have the gold ensign or flag on the front rail. I should have got a picture of them. But we encounter more loopers now on this eastern section because most loopers travel up from the Hudson River and go here, and then they'll go on the Oswego Canal to Oswego and then across to Kingston. They can go on the Trent Severn if they wish, or take a detour and do a loop around Montreal-Ottawa, do the Rideau, whatever. I may have neglected to mention, this is Horseshoe Island is the name of it. This is Horseshoe Island Road, and you'll see just beyond it, that's the other side of Horseshoe Island, and you can go up around the other side. This is the big cut. That's the Oneida River, that's the Oneida River. This is the cut through that was manually cut. We're going about 17 foot deep at the moment. Yeah. We're getting closer to Brewerton. Tell me, do you think this is a more optimistic take on some Grateful Dead lyrics? That's the only thing I can think of. Here's the Oneida River. The original one flowed around the island, came out here and continued. We've got a marina right here. I'll post the name of that. I forget right now. And it looks like we got some old wreck or some old dock here. I'm not sure exactly what. We are currently on the Morgan Cut. It's a relatively short cutoff of the Oneida River. This is Gloucester Island, and I'll show you a picture. It's pretty rectangular. The Oneida River goes here, and we would have turned that way, and then relatively square here, and we'll come up here. That's the river behind this island, so it makes us a rather square island. There's the end of the island right there. We approached the Brewerton Lock E23. It's located on Anthony Cut. That's another straight canal cut that cuts off a big loop of the Oneida River. That there is the original course of the Oneida River. This here we're following is the Lock 23, the Brewerton Lock cut, and it's pretty straight. Once we get around the corner here, the lock is coming up very shortly. It was spitting before we came in, but she's pouring right now. We got a second boat in here. Yeah. Right on. He's going up there pretty confidently. Okay, the doors are closing behind us. That guy made a little bit of a wake for us. He's getting close there. Okay, I better put this phone down. As we approached Brewerton from the west, we clearly saw it was a town that valued boaters. There was the SK yard, there was the Winter Harbor, there was Brewerton Boat Yard as well. The waterfront itself was very inviting for cruisers. Just past the railway bridge on the south side was the riverfront park with a wall, not too high. It's a good place to stop, or you could go a little further past the next bridge on the left or the north side, and there's a long dock. It was very popular and quite full. It was right in front of one of the restaurants. Speaking of restaurants, there are more than one, at least a couple restaurants right on the water that you can pull up to. Check if they're open. They might not be open certain days of the week. We continued on a little further, almost to Lake Oneida, to the 43 North Marina, where we stayed for the night. Well, it had been another hot day, so the first thing we did was, after getting fuel and a pump out for the boat, we went and had nice cooling showers ourselves. Then we went for a walk, and we went to the Waterfront Tavern. That's the one that had the big dock with lots of boats there. And after that, we did a little walk onto the Route 11 bridge. We're on Brewerton's Highway 11 bridge. Over there, you can see the wall. It's a high cement wall and a park. We look this way to the east. There's Highway 81. Our 43 North Marina is just to the left, past the bridge. This is the, you've got a floating dock section, a medium-sized wall, and then a higher wall here. You can park on both sides of it. That's an advantage from wake protection. And right here is a very nice restaurant, and I forget the name of it.
The Waterfront. The
Waterfront, of course, that's it. There are more restaurants. There's farther down there, there's a, is it Jake's? Jake's Grog and whatever, bar and restaurant. Look pretty good. It's not exactly on the water, but there are a lot of other places too. So that's an orientation to Brewerton. We crossed the bridge to the south side, to the center of Brewerton. Brewerton's known as a census-designated area, not an official village. There is the waterfront there, of course, and a small bit of a town. If you were to explore the north part, you would find there is a racetrack close to the water, as well as a blockhouse from the Fort Brewerton era. Our 10th day dawned, July the 2nd. We departed the 43 North Marina, and we headed out eastward across the length of Lake Oneida. Sylvan Beach and Verona Beach are that away. This is Frenchman Island, and I'm not sure what that is. They're fairly close to the east end. The lake is narrower at this end. Back there is Brewerton. You can see the water tower. We're going with the wind. That's why the flag is slack. We're going around 6.5 miles an hour. That's what the wind is. So any waves that develop, they aren't splashing over our bow. But every once in a while, well, frequently we hit wakes. And we got a guy coming here, he'll wake us and other things. Sometimes you can have wakes from two different directions, and since we're a slow boat, we pitch. Or we go yaw this way, that way. So this is, let's see, total 25 miles. We've gone probably just 4 miles by now. Back a little more than 20 miles that way is Brewerton. Mountains on this side, and pretty low on the north side. At the eastern end of Oneida Lake, there's a jetty right here that projects. This is Fish Creek. On that side is Sylvan Beach, and on this side is Verona Beach. There's a lighthouse right there. At this green buoy, we're going to follow sort of a range in, and you can see the bridge there in Fish Creek. There's a jetty on the left, so we'll be doing a port turn soon. You can see a jet ski or a boat coming out right now. This is Verona Beach right here on this side, Sylvan Beach over there. We've got walls both sides. It's a 5 mile an hour channel, so wake's not too bad, though some of those cruisers do throw a big wake at even 5 miles an hour. A couple restaurants, Clam Shack there, I'm not sure about that one. Canal View Cafe. Back behind me is something else, the Farmhouse Cafe also. We're going to go around the corner down here to Snug Harbor, and the main reason there is it's a little more protected and they have showers. But the other alternative we'll do is on the other side of there is a amusement park and there's a public beach, so we can take a dip there also. We untied from the wall and headed around the corner to Snug Harbor. We had called ahead of time just to make sure they had a spot. We're tied up for the night in an offshoot of Fish Creek. That's the opposite side, but what this portion is Snug Harbor. Here's where you check in. That's a fuel station as well. Fuel over here. Shower, ladies' room, men's room. And I'll take some other pictures to show the scope, but there's an inlet over there. It's actually fairly nice. It was very reasonable. Just for us, it was on the spot decision for a tiny boat, was $1.50 a foot. I am quite disappointed. I can't find any pictures that we took of Sylvan Beach or Verona Beach. We're on the Verona Beach side. We did cross the bridge over to Sylvan Beach. We went to the actual beach. It's a really nice public beach, and it's well patronized. Lots of kids, lots of people. Very nice. There's an amusement park there. There are some restaurants and so on. We should have gotten some pictures. On the Verona Beach side where we stayed, just across the road from the marina, it's kind of hidden down because of the rise up to the bridge, but there's a coffee shop, and we stopped by there in the afternoon, and we also got our coffee there in the morning the next day when we left. It's Thursday morning. We're getting ready to leave. There's Fish Creek and the Erie Canal. We're in the side creek here, and a lot of parking there. Back there is the actual Snug Harbor, and this is Snug Harbor property 2 on the river. We just spent the night here, and it was we had some rain, pretty heavy rain, and I guess it was stormy last night, but it cleared out about 8:30, 8 o'clock. So it's a sunny day now, July 3rd. We're leaving Verona Beach and Sylvan Beach behind. We've got some additional dockage here. I think there are creek and more dockage. And this is the way to the 2 new London locks and then the city of Rome. We only have 14 miles to go today to reach Rome. We plan on spending 2 nights there. We want to be there for any 4th of July celebrations they may have on the water or in the town tomorrow. We heard that Brewerton has quite elaborate 4th of July celebrations with fireworks, a boat parade and such. It's not clear that Rome has anything at this point. We'll find out when we get there. Occasionally the canal needs dredging in different places. These pipes are used to pump out the silt and the sand and move it elsewhere. We just missed the bald eagle flying from that little indent on the channel, and he's up in the tree here somewhere. Oh, there it is right there. We saw his big beautiful tail. for the shakes. We are really... Look at them. Here's an overflow dam or weir. And just up there you can see the start of a wall. This is the new, oh, I can just see the start of it. New London Lock 22.
New London Lock 22. They are emptying the lock for us.
We were first lowered through Lock 22, and then we went about, it's half a mile to get to Lock 21, lower another bit. We passed, oh, there's a birdhouse, by the way, I think for Martin House. There was the first traffic of the day. We passed going the opposite direction, a trawler, and then we were underway to Rome. I had to get a picture of this. It's just so clear and smooth and straight. Next stop is Rome, New York. We're coming up to something that is this little offshoot here. There's an old building and a crane. It says Junction Lock Dry Dock, and it actually has indications that there was a lock in here, so you could run something into here, presumably, and make a dry dock, drain it. You can keep going, Janet. It takes too long. Yeah, so definitely not in service, but in the days I guess you needed a dry dock, there you had it. We're in the countryside still, but Rome is approaching fast on our port side. It begins just after James Street. Get up, mule. Here comes the lock. We'll make Rome about 6 o'clock. One more trip and we'll go right back home to Buffalo. So up ahead you see a guard lock. Right around the corner to the left immediately is the Rome dock. It's Bellamy Harbor Park. And it's not 6 o'clock. It's about 1 o'clock. So is this it? I was thinking this would be a little more urban than this, but there are docks there. So we will approach with caution. Yeah, this is it. I recognize from the pictures, yeah. Janet's slowing us down a little bit. Yeah. Oh, and that's it. There's a little fall or a feed in there. That's a walkway. We can walk over that way into town. This way is more a little bit industrial, and the airport is over that way. So, okay. We'll get navigating to the dock now. We turned 180 degrees and tied up on our starboard side, which is what we favor, facing the opposite direction of our travel. We're at Bellamy Harbor Park. And we looked, and there were just a very few indications of setup for July 4th. We tied up at the nice, newish low dock there. There is this pier here, which is in sketchy condition. We tied up there, and or you could tie up here, and evidently there is power down at this end, but it's the really rough dock. There's this building, has a sign on it, and it talks about the facilities at the navigation center. You go under the bridge, around the path, and then up and across the street. There's a center there, and that's where you get washroom and shower access. You call the city, and we talked to a guy, Derek, and we're getting an app on the phone, and he enables certain time frame for access to showers and washroom. We also talked to Sam here, who cutting the grass. He's in charge of this area, and we're here. It's going to be July 4th tomorrow. There's a bandstand. There's something there for food or drink or whatever. There, I think, fireworks later. So we're here for 2 nights, July 3rd, July 4th. So it's a good place to be. Okay, this is the wall with power. So if you've got a high deck on whatever you're cruising in, you can use this. And there are power stanchions there. There are only 3 of them that I see, but there is power available, and you have to call the Parks and Rec. I'll post the number there. Call Parks and Rec, and somebody like Sam would unlock it for you probably. I think that's how it works. Okay, now we continue under the bridge where it says, "Welcome to Rome, the Copper City." Rome was known as the Copper City because it supplied at one time during the Industrial Revolution up to 1/10 of the United States copper. We come up the canal bank on the other side of the bridge to the navigation center where the showers and restrooms are, of course, with that Bluetooth code from your phone to access them. It was mid-morning or so. We headed on the Mohawk River Trail into downtown Rome, about a mile walk. And it started at the overflow, or that dam, which is actually from the Black River Canal. It followed. There were many canals in past days that different towns built to connect, little side feeder canals. Months ago, I plotted the location of, among other things, every ice cream shop within 1 mile of our intended journey. Now on to Fort Stanwix. Fort Stanwix saw action during the War of Independence, and it was known as the Fort that Never Surrendered. Okay, Fort Stanwix. We're inside the picket fence perimeter here. So it's got a moat and the projections and the wall. July 4th in Rome, New York. That's an amazing coincidence that we spent July 4th in Rome on the Erie Canal, because the first shovel in the ground for the canal was July 4th, 1817. The canal took just 8 years to build. The artificial river, as it's been called, opened October 26th of 1825. 200 years ago today. This is the bicentennial. And that wasn't by design that we came this year on the Erie Canal. Coincidence, but it's the best time to come. The dream of an east-west conduit was realized by exploiting the Niagara Escarpment contours and the Mohawk Valley, a naturally cut in the Appalachian Mountains, using 83 locks over about 363 miles. This past October, a replica barge, the Seneca Chief, recreated the first passage from Buffalo to New York. We're really glad to have been part of this celebration by transiting the canal this year. When you're actually down on the canal, there's a lot you don't see. You just see a bunch of trees and so on. We did see the park here. That's the town. We've been in the town, the navigation center. There's the tower. Okay, there's where we continue on tomorrow. And actually I can see now there's more dock there that I didn't even see when I was down at ground level. But the interesting thing is here, where was that train the other night? And what's intriguing is here back just behind us going onto the bridge, it said tunnel 500 feet. I thought, wait a second, we're going across a bridge and they're warning about a tunnel. The tunnel is just under the railway, so it's elevated. It's running across there. I don't know if that's the old, yeah, anyhow, it's elevated. And we've got a few more businesses across here. I had no idea that this cafe was just across the bridge, so close to where we were docked. If I hadn't gone for a morning walk, I would have missed it. It's right next to the Amtrak station. There's something amazing here. I went for a walk here this morning, and I come back, and it looks like the goose poop is gone. Work crews over on the other side, they're preparing the park for July 4th celebration, so I think they ran a sweeper or something around here. It's really a very welcome welcome sight. And all the geese that were on the grass, they appear to have vamoosed also. I didn't know when the festivities were going to begin. They were slowly setting things up through the morning and then a little more in the afternoon, and things really didn't get going until late afternoon with music in the band shell, lots of people coming for picnic meals, and there were food trucks, all sorts of different, and food tents, all sorts of different things you could sample of all kinds. Then we got to a real July 4th celebration with excellent fireworks over the canal. Doing snippets. We had no idea what kind of 4th of July we were going to have, but this was a front row seat to a fantastic celebration. So we really enjoyed our brief time in Rome.